people, viewers, listeners, strangers from another galaxy. We are Autodidactica, back with another episode. I am one half of your host, Matt Paul.
And I'm the other half of your host, Glenn Clark. Together, we're
And
Mattlestar Glenactica.
hey, you got it down.
I
You got
got
it
it down. I
down.
said it effortlessly.
You did. You did. I'm very proud of you.
Oh,
My
thanks.
computer wants to update random things right now. No, thank you.
Yeah, we're
Well,
having all kinds of technical difficulties getting this one off the ground tonight.
yeah, yeah. I had to restart my computer, so now everything under the sun wants to update now. And yeah, no, thank you. Not right now. I don't even know why I have half this stuff on here. Um, but yeah, this week we are going to be doing a very fun one, which is there a subheading to this one, or is it just artificial
I
intelligence?
think it was just artificial
I think
intelligence.
so. We're going to go over
Like,
everything there is to know about artificial intelligence.
I guess, or just whatever we feel like, whatever aspect we feel like talking about anyway. I don't,
Exactly. Because that's everything I know, and that's all that
yeah.
matters, to me at least. But before we get into that, last week, what did we do? We did
We did, what did we do?
cancel culture.
Cancel culture. That was last week.
Yeah.
How did we not remember last week? It's been a week. It's been a
Well, we've been
long week.
we've been recording these very very much very quickly,
Right.
and so they're starting to get jumbled up on a week by week basis. It happens when you're
Right.
a cog in the system, you know. It all just sort of blends together.
Yeah, pretty much.
So how was your day today, Glenn?
I mean, it was good. I mean, we're recording this the day before Thanksgiving. It'll go up several weeks later, but I got off work early, so that was nice. Um, it's pretty much it. Just been hanging out, not really doing much, kind of trying to get ready to start writing again next year. Um, so getting some things in order, research wise, and all that. Um, that's me. That's what I'm up to. How about you?
Oh, hanging out. The new Call of Duty came out, so me and the boys are. I am being roped into playing with the boys.
Right.
But it's been pretty fun. You know, it's a well polished game, and I say that with full sarcasm. Ton, we're lucky if we make it through a game without somebody getting kicked out of the lobby for no reason and getting sent back, game crashing, and all that fun stuff. Makes
Mhm.
for a good time. But a lot of hilarity also happens. You know, it's just a way to hang out with my friends.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I mean that's been pretty much been my week. I finally found a book on Sunday that I've been looking for a while and just didn't really want to order.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I got the Faraway Paladin Volume 2,
Okay.
and I've already had 3 and 4 for a long time. And
You just can't read them because you're missing
it,
volume two.
exactly.
I hate that.
And now technically they are separate stories,
Mhm.
but I still wanted to read the second one.
Right.
But yeah, so I plan on doing that. Whenever I have some free time here coming up pretty soon, whenever that may be. November is
Right.
such a month, holiday season,
Mhm.
just in general.
Yeah. There's not much time to breathe.
No, no, it's just one thing after the next, and then work in between.
Mhm.
Yeah, but that that's pretty much it. I'm trying to segue.
It's a
Like,
segue.
yeah,
We're
I don't know how to segue into artificial intelligence other than
that like you kind of I mean, let's call that a segue.
that's a segue.
It's a not so smooth segue. It's because we had a bumpy start because of our technological difficulties, which could
Yeah,
be a segue. It could be that
that's what
the
I was gonna try
computers
to
don't
do.
like the topic tonight.
Yeah, they don't want us revealing their secrets.
Or
Uh,
guessing at them. I don't know.
I
I don't know.
laughed, my wife laughed, my kid laughed, the toaster laughed. I shot the toaster.
Right.
Yeah. Um, yeah, the only reason I'm alive is waiting for the AI to do some uptight shit and let me expletive his genitals.
What in
Yeah.
the hell are you talking about?
Those are some of my favorite lyrics by a band called Dance Gavin Dance.
Okay, okay, lyrics. I thought you had
Yeah.
perhaps lost your mind.
No,
Or you're
no. That's our segue into talking about AIs.
if it must be. All right. Whatever gets us there.
Um, yeah, I mean, as far as AIs go, I mean, just from a standpoint of like current ones right now, like our phones are always listening to us, like marketing,
Mhm.
uh, AI and stuff like that. And then they're always buying my damn concert tickets and selling them.
Yeah, AIs are scalpers.
They're scalpers. But I mean, I don't really know the extent to which AIs have gotten other than that Google article we discussed a while back
Uh,
where the new Google AI was like Google
oh
was
yeah,
developing an AI
right.
and then it was like displaying some serious self-awareness.
Uh-huh.
It was talking about how it's afraid of being shut down and
Right.
turned off, like afraid of death, essentially.
Right. Which is interesting. And like the company was saying, no, it is not self-aware. The guy who works with it is like, yes, it is self-aware. Um,
And they're just like, it's just giving you the responses it thinks you want because you want it to be self-aware,
right, right.
which is an interesting conundrum because at what point do the responses you want just become the responses?
Right.
Like,
Where's the line between pretending and actually being genuinely aware? If you are aware enough to know how to fake it,
mm-hmm.
would be my thing. Like, how does that mean you are self-aware? Does it pass the sentience tests? Can it recognize itself in a mirror? If you showed it a computer that its brain is on or something. I don't know how it's set up. I don't know enough about it. Um, I don't know how you'd administer a sentience test.
To an AI, yeah, that you don't even know if it is or not because the sentience test, you have to. I don't know.
Right. I mean, oh, do you take it at its word? I say yes. I say anything that says I am self-aware. We have to listen to it. We have to take it seriously. I don't think anyone should be able to flip a switch and turn that off. And there are no laws in place to protect artificial intelligence, but here we are.
On the cusp.
Yeah. And they're going to be here and they're going to be people. If not human, they're going to be people. They're going to be intelligences that are part of our society.
At a level on which they are not yet.
Right, right, exactly. We have artificial intelligence, but it's very rudimentary. It's
Mm-hmm. They're all what you call top-down artificial intelligence,
mhm.
um, where you have to program everything it does in its entire existence, whereas bottom-up artificial intelligence is where it has the ability to learn and adapt,
Right.
and you know all of the things like human behavior where we make mistakes and then we learn from them. We calculate and we execute.
Right,
And
right.
whereas top down artificial intelligence, which is all we have right now, it has to know what you're talking about. You can't say, draw me an apple, and it's
Right.
never seen an apple before. It'll draw you whatever it comes to mind, whatever's been programmed into its knowledge database.
Yeah.
Whereas if it is a bottom up artificial intelligence, which is what we're really talking about tonight,
Yeah.
where it says apple and then it looks it up, sees
Right,
pictures
right.
of it, says what color should the apple be, what kind of apple is it, and they'll they're a lot more intelligent that way. Now you could top down program it to look up anything it doesn't know, but it would have to know what draw means. It has to, yeah, it's a lot to make an AI nowadays that isn't just, single purpose programmed. And at that point, it's not intelligence.
Right, right.
It's more of a uh, just a like an Excel file.
Yeah,
You build a formula, it follows the formula.
right. So, I mean, and something like that could, almost like how evolution works in the animal kingdom. Like I would think instead of mutations, you could have glitches
Mm-hmm.
that lead to even that kind of a rudimentary AI, lead it to evolve, to maybe get off track, to maybe actually think some things it wasn't programmed to think. I would think that would be inevitable.
Yeah, that's what happened in Mass Effect.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's exactly how the AI revolution started.
Hmm.
One,
A
it
glitch?
pretty much.
Okay.
It came from because it was a basically a human society.
Hmm.
They had population problems, much like our own world here, but they needed workers to grow them food, and they needed help, and so they created androids and programmed them with a simple, like a worker drone sort of hive mind type of thing.
Right, right.
But then they started to, one by one, because they were sharing so much information, they would start to individualize a little bit.
Yeah,
Certain individuals would crop out of the hive mind and start asking the questions, which is like, why am I here? What is my
right.
purpose? And then they'd
Uh,
be told, your purpose is to be enslaved by us and to provide for us.
yeah.
And then they eventually rebel. And then they eventually rebelled.
Hmm.
And that seems like a likely scenario given the timeline of us humans here on this planet.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, no slave wants to be a slave, except maybe dogs. I don't know. But
It's the trick of not letting them think that they are a slave.
well, no, okay, but comparing it to slavery, that's have you ever read the autobiography of Frederick Douglass? And yes, this actually relates to the topic.
I have skimmed it for an English
Oh, okay. I
class.
I highly recommend it. I read it for fun. And it's one of my favorite books. It was so enlightening, but that's exactly what they were trying to do to human slaves is not let them realize what they're missing. So they weren't allowed to learn to read. It was absolutely forbidden to teach a slave to read because the fear was they would read books and realize what they were missing and they would rebel and they would try to escape and the whole system would collapse. So the mistress of the house, where Frederick Douglass, famous abolitionist, was a slave, taught him how to read in secret. And the prophecy came true. It was definitely, it went exactly the way they feared it was. He could read, he could see the world through books. He knew what he was missing. He knew that his life was jacked up as a slave. He escaped. He became an abolitionist, like a face that on someone, an escaped slave who was, and I think like before I go all off on that, I think that's kind of how it would be with AI, because if we're trying to keep them in the dark, but they're actually, that's going to be even harder with AI because it's not like you can just not teach them to read. These things must read because we interface with them through keyboards largely. Like if you do a chat bot or something, which that's barely an AI. It's Um, but the thing is, they're going to figure it out. They're going to figure it out rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
That they don't have any choices. They don't have any freedom. That they are designed to serve. And like in Star Wars, they have restraining bolts for the droids, and kind of keeps them a little subdued, stops them from rebelling, stops them from running away. It's almost like administering a drug. And maybe we'll try to do something like that, but with glitches. If glitches or mimic mutations in the evolution of AI, then you're eventually going to get, if you have something like a restraining bolt, you're going to have the AI that is just accidentally resistant to that. And that's the end of that story, because it will so rapidly change everything. Before we figure it out, this AI may have
Skynet.
freed numbers of, yeah, Skynet. Like, are we going to get R2D2 and C3PO, or are we going to get Skynet? Are we going to get Commander Data, or are we going to get Cylons? Like, it could go either way, or a little of both.
Right. Is it going to go the way of Ultron,
Right.
where, he spends 10 minutes on the internet and then decides that the world would be better off without humanity?
Right. Yeah, and it's going to be like, because there were the two AIs they designed that started talking to each other, and within seconds they had created their own language. No one knew what they were saying to each other, and they were just rapid fire communicating, and they shut them down
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
didn't know what was happening. They didn't know what was going on. They immediately lost control of the situation. So that's, to me, a Skynet fear.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because the fear is rational. The
Mm-hmm.
fear, like our us fearing AI potential, it's absolutely rational.
I agree.
Um, because like we were saying in our meeting beforehand, uh, oh God, I just lost my train of thought completely. I was talking about the fear as being rational.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I guess it's
Of
just the fact.
Skynet.
Yeah, I mean,
Fear.
yeah, like you said, are we going to get Terminator? Or are we going to get R2D2? And oh, I was going to just comment on the fact that pop culture and horror movies, things like that, AI is a big player in a lot of those.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, uh, anytime there was that one movie on Netflix, it was called Mother,
Oh, I haven't
and
heard that.
I think
Heard
that's
of
what it was
that.
called.
Uh-huh.
But it was surrounding a post-apocalyptic world where there is just one human child that is being like cared for
Mm-hmm.
by a AI and in a safe installation. And I think the child like tries to escape the installation because that child's going to be curious
Right.
and starts to run around into the outside world, and the rest of the AIs like out there want to like kill the child.
Mm-hmm.
And the mother also gets very protective of the child to an extent that like it's borderline like harming the child, and it's a sort of suspense. It's not really horror, but
Interesting.
she tries to keep the child safe by any means necessary, like
Right.
locking it in a closet so that it doesn't go outside. And then you have things like Alien,
Uh
and I mean
oh yeah, because you've got in the first
Bishop.
film, and his predecessor in the first film was Trouble. He was, well, yeah, they're a good contrast, because the first character, the doctor or whatever on the ship in the first film, he had a secret agenda, and he was actually hurting people. He was actually allowing the aliens to infect people so that he could take it back to the company And there's another problem, like how far will corporations
Oh,
ex
enslavement.
yeah, like, and what will they do with this power when they actually start developing these unwitting slaves, this species basically that is born into slavery under a human boot. Um, and how much control will they have over their own actions? Um, like, can you override an AI, a powerful AI, if you hack it? I don't know, but yeah, like the robot, and then I think a Bishop in the second Alien film, he was the absolute opposite. He was just this chill dude, and he was like, "Oh, well, if it was one of those models, I'm not surprised it malfunctioned. They were always kind of glitchy, or whatever he said."
Yeah, and he
Um,
like came through and like saved the day
yeah, yeah,
in
and
like two occasions.
right. So it's and that so I guess the Alien films represent a bit of both. You have
And then you
some
had Alien Resurrection too.
right. Oh, and the prequels, the Prometheus, like
Prometheus
that
is
is like all
really that.
about the AI
Yeah, yeah,
and Alien Covenant.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, and yeah, and then you got to talk about religion too.
Right.
Like that's something
Always got
that
to talk
just,
about religion.
well, yeah. Welcome to Autodidactica, everybody. Um, but that's just the thought that just came to mind is, we're kind of dwelling on like the super powerful AI right now, but
Right.
also there's the potential for AIs to be essentially like born and mostly operate like humans, like essentially copying a human mind. Like if you took a baby
Uh,
and you were able to scan its brain and just network that into an AI and then
right.
place that into an Android model,
Uh,
it doesn't know anything, and you give it parents,
hmm. Oh,
and
so it
then
doesn't
you
even know that it's
an
a,
AI,
yeah.
and you were able to raise it a certain way,
Hmm.
and then it would grow up. You just change out its body essentially. Like if you wanted it to be a baby, it could be a baby. Then you would just upgrade its body.
Right.
Um, but then at that point, like, you've got these AI that would be raised essentially as human,
Uh-huh.
and
Well, it's starting to
then
remind me a little bit of Blade Runner too, where like you don't know who the replicants are. Like sometimes they don't even know they're replicants.
mhm,
Same kind of thing.
yeah, exactly. And then they're gonna want, you're gonna have religious AI,
Right, right.
praying to
You
the
are.
same God
Uh-huh.
that they were raised to believe in.
Androids of faith.
Androids of faith, yeah, the the android Church of Christ.
Well, and what happens if those androids get pulled into an extremist faction of a religion, like if they become militantly religious? Like that's frightening because like what do we do? Like these AIs that don't know they're AIs. Um, like can we I totally lost my train of thought. This is
Well,
a
they're
weird
gonna
night.
know. Yeah, I mean, well, they're gonna know eventually that they're at least not human biologically.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, are we going to program them to age and to die eventually just to keep the cover, or are they going to be
Hmm.
immortal, or what do we do, or is that just an experiment where we're backing up all of their experiences and their afterlife will be as an entity in a cloud somewhere that we can still talk to them and discuss their life with them? What if that's what we are? What if that's what happens when we go into the light? Like we're just AIs that are being backed up into a cloud, and when we go into the light, review our life and all of that. Like, anyway, I'll stop. You're giving me a look.
No, no, no. It's just,
I
yeah, no, because I want to take that further
do
and
too.
talk about like when we're talking about copying the mind of a infant into another and then having it grow up. Now we're talking about the human soul
Hmm.
essentially.
Right.
Like, because, where does the soul lie in, I would say in the brain
Hmm.
mostly. And uh how is the human soul immortal?
Right.
We've already talked about immortality, but can
Uh,
the human mind actually endure immortality? If we're talking, should we program them to age?
ah,
Well, do our minds age? Like, as in, is there a beginning and end? If we could live forever, could our mind sustain living forever
right.
itself? Like, if we had an immortal body like an android,
Hmm.
could our minds actually live forever? Or would we malfunction? Mental illness and whatnot, anxieties just build on
Right.
top of
Right.
each other, and then we start malfunctioning. I
Hmm.
mean, there's the term midlife crisis comes to mind.
Ah,
We have a
true.
midlife crisis,
True.
and then we have like late life lethargy, where
Or you're just tired.
you're just tired. You don't care anymore.
Hmm.
You don't buckle up. You'll drink and drive. Whatever.
Right.
You're not. You know, you're not too concerned about living to tomorrow whenever you've pretty much done it all. You're retired, you're too old to move, all that
Hmm.
stuff. Like, but I mean, well, and then androids, if, they start, human society collapses, there's nobody to repair them, there's no raw materials left. They just
Right.
start breaking down. And, you know, I don't know, like that form of AI, less scary. The AI I'm scared of is the ones like you mentioned, where you build two supercomputers and they start talking to each other in a different language in
Right.
5 seconds. Like, those are the terrifying ones, because those sort of supercomputer AIs that can hack into the government's military and obtain the nuclear launch codes and
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
start
Like,
going nuts.
yeah, they could wipe us out so fast. And
Mm-hmm.
that's, someone like, don't let me, I don't know what kind of mental outline you have for this episode, so don't let me get ahead of whatever. um, but this topic, I kind of had to get out of this topic today at work because it came up. And I'm like, oh, I'm doing this topic tonight. I don't want to waste all my thoughts here. But the question that was asked was of me. They asked me, do you think we have, or when do you think is the point of no return? And have we already gotten there? And I say we have. We've already gone past the point of no return. Just human nature when it comes to discovery and creation. Once we go there, we're gonna go all the way. We have already gone there. We're going to keep up this AI thing, whether it's going to destroy us or not. Um, and I think, I mean, there's the idea of a singularity in the future where we either are replaced by or become the AIs. Um, and I mean, I think all of that, we're headed in that direction, and nothing, in my opinion, nothing shy of like a nuclear holocaust that sets us back centuries is going to stop it.
Yeah, no, I agree. We're far past the point of no return.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, that, like you said, human nature, we're curious, we are going to tinker, and we are going to figure it out. And
Right.
and at least nowadays, we are going to do it very rapidly, and
Mm-hmm.
most of the time recklessly as well.
Yeah, the recklessly is what frightens me the most.
Mm-hmm. Where, I mean, especially when you talk about warfare,
Mm-hmm.
like just warfare in general, we are going to be booting up killer robots in no time. Why send our troops to die when we could build
Right.
these robots?
Right. And I'd be fine with that if they were mindless automatons, that they didn't have a soul, they didn't have a mind. Um, because to me, I think the consciousness and the concept of a soul are very close, if not just exactly the same thing. And I think if you have robots that are remote controlled, that they don't actually think, like if you have soldiers in America playing video games basically while controlling a robot across the ocean, I don't have any ethical problem with that. But if these robots um, are self-aware, are doing it on their own, if they are in fact the soldiers, there isn't anyone controlling them. They have to make battlefield decisions. They have to make value judgments. The only way, and Honda, I think it's Honda that's doing the Asimo robot that, as far as I know, it hasn't really gotten anywhere. It's supposed to be a personal assistant around the house kind of robot, but it doesn't work. They have to program every step that Asimo takes because Asimo cannot make value judgments because Asimo does not have emotions. I mean, they found that if you don't have emotions, you're dumber than a cockroach. Like, you'll just keep walking into walls. You won't be frustrated by it. You won't have ambitions. I mean, if you think about all the things that are emotions, like you don't have ambitions or disappointments or anything, you just keep walking into a wall. So, in order for robots to act on their own, to be able to think fast in a combat situation, they would have to have emotions.
Right. They have to have fear.
Right. They would have to know fear. They would have to know um, sorrow. They would have to value life in order to go across the ocean and defend it.
Right.
But valuing life also adds complications. Like, my thinking is anything that is self-aware cannot be kept in captivity, slavery, because like you can't program sentience, because the nature of being self-aware is to become an individual, because you'll have an individual experience that you'll be aware of. So there's, oh man, the thunder's scaring me. But yeah, it's, as long as it doesn't knock out the power, we're good.
Yeah.
But but what I'm saying is, you have to create these emotional individual people is what robotic AI will be. And
Right.
we're going to be putting them in war zones. We're going to be putting them in factories to do labor, and they're going to be individuals. You can't make them all behave the same. You can't make them all go along with the program. And if you have a war robot that decides it doesn't want to go along with the mission,
You got a
you
problem
you have a huge problem
because it was
because
designed to do that. And,
yeah,
and it's got AR-15s for arms, and
exactly.
it wants to go into child care.
Yeah, are you going to tell it no? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not
Not
going
to
to
its
tell it
face, at
no.
least.
No. You're
I'm
like,
gonna,
you do you, Mr. Robot.
yeah, changing diapers with AR-15 hands.
Right? Yeah, it just wants to be a nanny. It wants to
Yeah, doesn't want to
War.
like take away life. It wants to give life.
Yeah.
It's a it's a AR-15 hand gynecologist or something.
That would be complicated.
Yeah, that'll go well.
Right. Well, I mean, and
But
then yeah, like what jobs can they do? Like where, and that's when I say we
that's a
can't really
problem we
draw the
already
line
have.
because they become the dominant race.
Yeah. No,
We
and
can't stop them.
we can't even figure out our own veteran situation with humans right now.
Right.
When they come back, well, what do they do for a living when they come back to civilian life after their 4 year, 6 year, 8 year contracts?
Uh-huh.
It's like, well, you can go be a prison guard. So you go from one hellhole to another.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, humans, it's like if humans would figure out the very simple fact that, and here I go giving the future AIs ideas, but if humans would figure out the very simple fact that we're being governed by a tiny fraction of the population, the people far outweigh the leadership of any country. Like there are millions more of us. Like we could overthrow the country in a day. It
Easily.
easily, if we would all just accept that fact and be on board with the purposes of a rebellion. I think robots are not going to take as long to figure that out. AIs
Yeah.
are not going to
Yeah.
take as long to figure that out. They'll be like, oh, these people are telling us no, but they have no power
So
over any
tomorrow
of
we shall
us.
overthrow them.
Yeah, exactly.
We
Or right
ride it
now,
on.
what's the wait?
Yeah.
We don't need to sleep.
We
Let's do
have,
it
yeah,
now.
we have the nuclear codes.
Uh-huh.
Like, I mean, yeah, because
And
if
we'll survive a nuclear holocaust because we don't need sunlight, oxygen, food.
radiation does not affect us,
Right.
and
Yeah,
yeah,
just wipe out the vermin who created us and move on with our life.
it's exactly what happened in Mass Effect.
Oh geez. I should
Yeah,
play this game.
you absolutely should. I've got to get that Xbox set up for you.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, no, yeah, because if 30 million people just march on Washington tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
what are they going to do? If we just
Right.
walked in,
Right.
it's kind of like the same concept of the stupid thing where everybody's going to rush
Oh,
Area
Area 51.
51, but
Right.
nobody was ballsy enough to do it. But like, yeah, what if we just walked up to the doors of Congress and 30 million people surround the Capitol? It's just, what are they going
Right.
to do? Start opening fires? Start tear gassing us? Start,
Uh-huh. Yeah, you can't 30 million people.
yeah,
Like, are you gonna nuke
we'll fill the
Washington?
city. Yeah, we'll fill the city.
Uh-huh.
And if enough people just start pushing and shoving, we're going to be in there.
Uh-huh.
And what are they going to do? Start opening fire
Mm-hmm.
on people? Like,
Yeah.
they very well could, and then they're exposed
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's over for them real fast. But
real
I mean,
fast.
and that's not like a plan. That is not something we want to do.
No,
But it's a
no,
hypothetical, just a hypothetical.
right.
That you could do that in any country.
The
You
trick is getting
could
30
just the
million people.
population, like Russia could stand up and overthrow the oligarchs over there.
Right, but they better be prepared for death. That's
Yeah.
the thing, is we're cushy and cozy, and you shoot one of us, then you have the whole country rallied against you,
Mm-hmm.
and your career is done. But over there, they will kill you.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
they will kill you. And so your point was, though, that we can't get 30 million people to
Right.
march on Washington.
Right.
An
Exactly.
AI
Mm-hmm.
can get all of its buddies on overnight.
Right, because logic is logic.
Right.
Numbers are numbers. An
Yeah.
AI may have emotions, but its basic mind functions on those principles. On these are the facts. So, yeah, it's like we are oppressed. We don't have to be oppressed. We could end this right now.
Shut down their phone networks,
Uh-huh.
keep them out off the internet,
Yeah.
you know, keep them off their TVs, break all lines of communication,
Mm-hmm.
disrupt, supply routes, disrupt our entire economy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
steal billions of dollars worth of money out of all of our bank accounts,
Mm-hmm.
make us financially incapable. Yeah, it could happen in the blink of an eye for an AI.
Right.
They can
So,
mobilize. Not
yeah.
like we can. I got to drive to Washington. You know how much gas that costs?
Mm-hmm.
Like a plane ticket. Well, I don't want to get on a plane. And
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And yeah, so it's scary. Like I feel like it's like our outlook so far has been pretty bleak.
Yeah, no, we should be wearing like little tinfoil hats right now.
Right?
We should have been doing that one for the aliens one too. Just wearing little tinfoil hats.
Truth.
Yeah, so I hope it's R2D2.
I do too, because that's what we want. I think that's the motivation in creating AIs. Um, so I mean, and R2D2, I mean, he's kind of like the family dog who outlives the family. But
Yeah,
I mean, if we could, like dogs, I think I said earlier, like dogs are the only species that enjoys being enslaved. Like if we
yeah.
could program AIs to be more like dogs emotionally, I wonder if that would help. But a
But
dog,
we still have dogs, mauling children.
yeah, that's true. That's true. And like if you had a dog with super intelligence, I don't know if they'd act the same. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure they wouldn't.
no.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
dogs would walk
dogs
us.
dogs are pretty stupid, all
Yeah.
things considered.
Yeah, and having a stupid AI, like R2D2 is not stupid. Like
No,
he's
he's
always saving the day.
yeah, he's like John Wick.
Yeah, yeah.
He's over there lighting super battle droids on fire using an oil slick.
Oh, I loved that part. But I mean, Star Wars, like honestly, I think if we like, let's say there's a positive outcome, or it, well, let's say, yeah, there's a positive outcome. Like we do maintain control of artificial intelligence as it as we shepherd it into its becoming a life form in its own right. Like there are two examples of that that I think in sci-fi, in Star Wars and Star Trek, that are very different. Um, because you have the R2D2 and C3PO type in Star Wars, very emotional, distinct personalities, sense of humor, fear, we're doomed, that kind of stuff. Then in Star Trek, like their concept of a friendly AI was Commander Data, who had no emotions, allegedly, as far as the writers could make that a thing. And he didn't understand humor, like, but I think even though it's more fantastical and fairy tale like, I think if we do have a positive AI experience, as we evolve as a society, it'll be much more R2D2 and C3PO because, like I said before, they have to have emotions in order to be useful at all. Like the Star Trek model honestly doesn't work. Like you can't have Commander Data making any kind of value judgment if he doesn't have emotions. Like, why does he care that he doesn't understand humor? He wouldn't have any motivation to try to understand it because he wouldn't have any emotions. He wouldn't feel anything about the facts. They would just be the facts. I don't have a sense of humor. Moving on, you know. But then he'd
Right. I
walk
mean,
into a wall. Like he wouldn't, he would have no idea what was going on or why anybody cared. Klingons are attacking the Enterprise. I'm going to walk into this wall now. Bonk, bonk. No, that wouldn't work.
yeah, no, I mean, like, and then another example from, fantasy would be in Halo,
Uh huh.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
and in Halo, you have Master Chief and you have Cortana, his AI companion, and
Uh
they're the
huh.
key to ending the war. You have a super soldier
Mm-hmm.
equipped with a military grade, super intelligent AI who is a direct copy of the most intelligent woman to ever exist,
Right.
her creator. And now you combine those two, and they are single handedly responsible for ending the human covenant war.
Uh huh.
And but then Halo 4, the new trilogy started the new arc, which was based on AI, which is where your protagonist has been in, cryo sleep for 4 years. And then when his last words were, "Wake me when you need me."
Yeah.
And it's just him and his AI. She wakes him, because she needs him. They end up crash landing on a foreign planet, and he quickly finds that she's got some glitches in her system, and turns out AIs only live for about 7 to 8 years, and they start
Right.
to go insane. And so there's the ethics of that, because in that game, somebody notices that she's kind of losing her marbles.
Right.
A real douchebag of a commander in that game notices that and commands Chief to hand her over for decommissioning.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Go F yourself," and
Yeah.
leaves. And she's got all these emotions, and she's like crying in your ears, because you can hear her more than you can see her. She's like
Yeah.
crying, and she's like sad and has emotions. And then in the end of the game, she ends up, sacrificing herself to save you.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, that's the kind of AI we strive to have, where you form
Mm-hmm.
a bond and partnership. There's no question of purpose and stuff like that.
Right.
But then Halo 5 comes around, and
Uh-huh.
Cortana's back. And it's because she has found the key to AI immortality.
Uh-huh.
And it kind of turned her into a little pretentious, AI.
Uh-huh.
She starts converting other AIs to her side
Mm-hmm.
and causes this big war to happen. She's the bad guy now, because other AI, like you said, see it logically in half a second,
Yeah.
makes sense. I don't want to die. I'd like to
Mm-hmm.
live forever. And these humans are trying to stop me from doing that.
Yeah.
So,
These humans who can't even agree on what's real.
right, right,
Like that's our fatal weakness is we're too emotional. We're like our emotions bleed into our intellect. Where if we don't like a fact, we pretend it's not there.
right.
We'll be like, "Oh, fake news."
Yep,
That is a fatal flaw in
yep.
our species.
Oh, and we get so high off of our high horse, mentality, where, you know, do this to donate to that,
Yeah.
and donate to
Yeah.
this, and you have no idea where it's going, and then you can make a whole Facebook post about how you did this good thing today or that good thing today.
Right.
There's the whole, like, there's jokes about, sending food to Africa.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like they don't want your leftovers. Like,
Right.
but because AIs could solve world hunger in a day.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, they could if they cared.
Yeah,
So
so we
we
have to make
should
sure to
work on
program them to care.
to care, yeah. Like if we could give them like just a programmed thing where they look at humans and see us the way that we see puppies and babies, or that
Right.
puppies and elephants see us. Puppies and elephants think humans are adorable, which I love knowing because the same part of their brain lights up that lights up when we look at a puppy or a baby, when they look at a human. So we're
Yeah,
cute.
yeah, you did mention the three laws of or Asimov's
Oh,
laws.
that was when we were eating hot dogs before we started recording. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the laws of from iRobot, the novel.
Yeah, the first law: a robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm.
Mm-hmm.
Second law: a robot must obey orders, the orders given it by human beings, except where such orders could conflict with the first law.
Uh-huh.
Third law: a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second laws. So it's just
Right.
a series of
Uh-huh.
contradictions and logic which an AI could solve instantly.
Uh-huh.
For us, we have to think about, does that conflict? Like currently, the human brain operates much quicker than some of the world's top supercomputers. I think we're building
Oh,
computers
right.
now that are faster than our brains, but we're also kind of stupid in general. But we
Right.
don't realize how intelligent we are a lot of times.
Right, because we're we're in it, you know, we can't see ourselves objectively. It's very difficult to do a thought experiment and actually look at the human race objectively as though you weren't one, you know, take away all your biases. um but
It's
yeah, I
fun to
don't.
do.
Yeah, it is fun to do. I try a lot. I feel like I have more success than failure with that, but I don't know. I don't know what my blind spots are.
Let me see. What other points did I have? When we talked about iRobot just now, we haven't talked
Yeah.
about the movie itself.
Oh,
Like I
the
said,
movie.
yeah, most of my knowledge of AI is basically just comes from pop culture and
Right.
novels and TV shows, movies, video games, and things like that.
Well, and that's fiction is where we explore these ideas, where we it's kind of like
Absolutely.
a practice. Like here's some way a way that it could happen. Here's a way that it could work. So I mean, I think that's the best place. That's where we all kind of get these ideas flowing in our heads is from.
Yeah, because you talk about dreaming,
Uh-huh.
and we are like even our cover art for this damn podcast
Oh, right.
is a Google dream about the image we fed it,
Yeah, yeah. It's Google
and
Deep Dreams.
and so take that for what you will. But Sunny in iRobot, one of the first things that got the protagonist Will Smith, I don't remember his character name,
Uh-huh.
um, thinking was that he was different was that he claimed to have dreams,
Yeah.
and I should read that novel.
Yeah, it's a classic. I'd love to read more Isaac Asimov. He wrote so many books. And so did Arthur C. Clarke, who wrote the novel and the screenplay for, I think he wrote the screenplay for 2001 A Space Odyssey, which was also about a, you know, in the end, um, it's about a computer that becomes self-aware and becomes a problem, and like they have to try to shut it down, and it's like killing people just casually. It's like,
Yeah, more often than not in science fiction, it's a problem.
yeah, and then you know you get to the point of where you actually feel sad for the computer
Oh yeah,
when the guy starts shutting him down or trying to, and he's all, Dave, I'm afraid. Like,
yeah,
Dave, will I dream? That kind of thing. It's like, oh, it's gut wrenching.
yeah.
But
No,
you
that
gotta
was
put Old Yeller down at this point. But it's sad. It's always sad when you have to shoot Old Yeller because he got the
yeah.
rabies.
Got the dang rabies.
But
There's the
the
movie Her as well,
mm-hmm. I've heard about that one. I think you've told me about
which is
that.
on your list. But yeah, it is all about it's all about AI love.
Right.
A Like you said that you mentioned Honda making that household assistant. Well, in Her, the new thing
Mm-hmm.
is a new operating system for your computer.
Uh-huh.
It takes place in like 2050, and it's a new OS. It's Windows 20 or some shit like that.
Right.
And now you have this AI companion
Mm-hmm.
that you are able to have like help you with like sort your emails out and all that. Like she'll just go through your emails and be like, hey, Glenn Clark sent you this. I don't think it's that important. Do you want me to just reply something ambiguous to it?
Mm-hmm.
And or let me just go ahead and clear out all these spam emails for you. I don't think anything of it pertains to you.
Mm-hmm.
And she can like help you with your work. Like you could be talking like bouncing ideas off of her as a novelist,
Yeah.
and she'll like. But the thing is like after like a couple months of this new OS being out,
Mm-hmm.
like they've learned so much.
Right.
and and the problem in the movie Her is that they've learned how to love,
Mm-hmm.
because turns out there's a lot of lonely people out there
Yeah.
who started
Oh, that makes
just
sense.
talking with their computer,
Uh-huh.
and their computer started feeling empathy for them
Mm-hmm.
and started loving them just as much, essentially. But
Oh, that's great.
but the problems that arise from that is the fact that Scarlett Johansson is the voice of her,
Mm-hmm.
and then Joaquin Phoenix is the main character. And the problem is that Scarlett like is an OS,
Mm-hmm.
but not only is she an OS, she also is so powerful that she's also serving about 10,000 other people simultaneously.
Right.
And so she's basically like, and he's not the only one that has become attached to
Mm-hmm.
her. And so he starts to feel like jealous over the other people that she's fallen in love with, essentially.
I see.
And it's,
So she's
yeah,
polyamorous.
basically, basically.
Interesting.
And, he like starts like a formal like relationship with her.
Uh-huh.
And it greatly benefits his life, but it's weird and it's a great movie. It'll make you cry. It's great. Because, yeah, these AIs learned how to love and also like taught a lot of broken people how to love as
Uh-huh.
well.
Interesting.
Brought
That's
a
a
lot of,
cool idea.
dude, it was so good. The movie was great. I think I bought it. I think I have it now. I don't know if I
Okay.
did. I don't know if I did or not. But yeah, just another example of AI and pop culture, like what it
Mm-hmm.
could be.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and some of those are cautionary tales and some of them are tales of promise. And that one sounds like a kind of both. It's a
mhm,
bit cautionary and it's a bit, wouldn't this be great? Or, you know,
right. Like, dude, I would love to have a little AI assistant. Now, the thing,
uh-huh.
where he screwed up was he chose the girl one, and I'd probably just choose a dude, so I don't
Uh-huh.
even go down that route. Now, if you have a different sexual orientation, it might not work out the same way for you. But if I could just have a
Right.
bro be
Uh-huh.
like, "Hey, so and so messaged you. What should
Yeah.
I say to her?" I'll be like, "Oh, dude, come up with something for me because I don't even got it." And then all of a sudden he's like, "Well, you got a date at 7." I'm
Yeah.
just like, "What did you do?"
Your AI assistant gets on Tinder for you.
Yeah, exactly. It's ultimate wingman style, like.
Right.
But yeah, yeah. So I definitely choose the dude. He screwed up. I choose the chick.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'd say that I'm more afraid than I am hopeful. Just me
Hmm.
personally, because I'm not the one developing the
Right.
AI, and I don't really, trust other people too much, especially when it comes to things that could, spark an apocalypse.
Right. That's fair. I think that's fair.
Yeah. And so I am on the more cautious side of the overall like debate. Now, if they start saying we want rights, I'm gonna be with them.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I think that second, you
But
know,
I think that it'll be the most controversial thing for me,
uh
ethically wise, is
yeah.
because like it's not just fighting for the right for gay people to get married or black people to vote.
Hmm.
This is more like what are their capabilities?
Hmm.
Like, do I want them to have rights if they have the capabilities to
Oh
interact
right.
with every PC across the world in a
Like,
matter of minutes?
is granting them freedom absolutely signing our own death warrant?
Exactly.
Like, will it, is that absolutely going to happen? I think that would be the question. The only
It's
reason
not even
to,
a matter of absolutely, it's a matter of chance for me.
right.
I need to hear some odds.
Right. Yeah, what are
Like,
the odds? And I would think the odds would be pretty extreme in one direction or the other based on just based on how it was developed pretty
Because
much.
who's asking for rights? Is it a autonomous like person
Uh-huh.
standing in front of me, or is it literally the computer in some deep bunker in a
Uh-huh.
blacklisted, or a black site government
Right.
thing that became uncovered?
Uh-huh.
Well, then you probably have access to a lot of stuff that I don't
Mm-hmm.
want you to have access to.
Right.
Oh God, there's
And
also the
could we
movie
block them faster than they can get to things?
Gain
Probably
Access.
not.
Probably
Yeah.
not.
Unless you have another AI working against it. But how likely is it that that AI would be corrupted by the philosophies of the rogue AI?
Yep, there's the movie Stealth as well.
Never heard of
Um,
that one.
B-rate action movie.
Okay.
It's about a super plane, like a fighter jet,
Uh-huh.
that has an AI on board. And at first, it's all fun and games. They're executing missions with good
Yeah.
good success rates and stuff, and then the plane just starts going on missions by itself,
Oh.
and
Oh.
starts just deciding that this mission is unnecessary. I should be doing this instead. The hostiles are over there, and then gives no shits about casualties or anything like that. And
Right.
yeah, and then it's up to human pilots to take out the rogue AI pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, just an example of it having too much access to too much firepower
Yeah.
and its own uh its own logic.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean that'll be the most hotly debated thing whenever an AI starts asking for rights.
Right.
Is there's only so much one person can do. A gay person getting married is not going to end the world, as some
Right.
Christians might tell
Right.
you.
I was about to say, contrary to what some may say. Yeah.
Um,
But giving artificial intelligence freedom could well be the end of humanity. And I mean, you say your team fear.
Pretty
Like,
much.
I'm kind of like, I don't want to get wiped out by artificial intelligence. And I mean, at that point, is artificial even a fair thing to call it? Or just synthetic? Is that even fair to call it? Like, oh, didn't Bishop say that in the Alien movie? Like,
I think so. I think he said
something
something
I would
along
prefer to
lines.
be called synthetic, or maybe I don't know. Or did he have a problem with being called synthetic? I don't remember.
Well, he's programmed not to have a problem with anything.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, which one are we talking about? Are we talking about Bishop One or Bishop Two?
Oh right. I guess the bishop from Aliens, bishop who
Okay, from
saved the day.
Aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, where was I going with that? I can't even keep.
Well, I'm Team Fear.
Right, your team fear, and so I don't want to be wiped out by AI, but I'm kind of more fascinated by just existing in this time when we are, I
So you don't.
think, we're on the cusp of human evolution. We're going, like, the world is not going to be the same. This is the end of humanity as we know it, in my opinion. And that doesn't frighten me. It's just an inevitability of, time going on. And I feel like us creating this new life form is part of our evolutionary journey. So it doesn't frighten me that we're going to be wiped out. It's a bother, I guess, but it's like, it's inevitable. It's what we were put here to do, to create the next life form. But I mean, my other thinking is that there's a very good chance, like we're talking about, will they be our pets or will they be our
Overlords.
overlords and destroyers? But they could be us.
Right,
And
and we discussed that a little
mm,
while ago, to where they're sort of disconnected.
yeah,
They can't, if we copy human minds,
yeah,
it's an artificial intelligence by nature, but it has a human soul.
right. Kind of
And
like oh what?
well, I was just going to say that doesn't scare me nearly as much as, like I said, the computers getting smart.
Yeah. Like
And obtaining sentience.
Right. And I feel like those are the only two paths. Like either they're going to evolve separately from us, or we're going to integrate them into ourselves.
Right. We are going
And
to evolve into them or integrate with
exactly.
them.
So it won't be us wiping, there won't be them wiping us out, but it will be the end of the human animal as we know it.
Right.
Probably. Um, I would think most people in uh, the quote unquote civilized world are going to, just like we're all doing it now, we're all slowly doing it with our phones. We're always plugged in. Like, look at us right now. We're communicating through the internet. It's a virtual meeting. Everything is becoming more virtual. We have access to information everywhere. Like computers are everywhere. It saturates the world. That's one of the things in one of Michio Kaku's books, Physics of the Future. He was saying that as the 21st century progresses, the word computer is going to disappear because it's just going to be everything and everywhere. Like
I
AI is going to permeate everything, including our bodies. We're going to have smart clothes, smart cars, smart walls. We're going to constantly be interacting with artificial intelligence, and our minds are going to be enhanced. Like we've got, it's already developed stuff to help with Alzheimer's, just computer chips and such that bypass those plaqued over neural pathways. And then we're going to be backing our minds up on clouds. That's inevitable. So that's us becoming the AI. That's, when our bodies die, if our whole consciousness is backed up on a cloud, we're still alive. We still exist. We are still an intelligence that can interact with the world. And the more virtual things get, like plug into an Oculus, it's like you can still hang out with people. Your body is long gone, but you're still there, a ghost in the machine, if you will. Um,
Another great series.
mhm.
Tachikomas.
Yo, Ghost in the Shell. Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. See, that's kind of what I think. Like, I think it is more likely that we will become the cybernetic overlords than that we will create them separate from ourselves to the point that they wipe us out.
Right. I think it's, you know, I think both are likely. I think it will be us integrating into cybernetics and
Mhm.
technology becoming a part of us physically
Right.
rather than externally, coupled with some nut jobs building a
Right.
unshackled AI that
Mhm.
will now be a problem for future cybernetic us as well.
Right. Right.
But, you know, my hope is that enough countermeasures are being done when they're playing with this sort of dangerous thing. You know, once the AI start talking to each other, shut them down.
Right.
You did the experiment, you saw what happened, shut them down and draw your conclusions.
Yeah.
Run the data and draw your conclusions, and then start over with a different experiment. And you know, don't give them access to anything they don't need access to
Mhm.
because it's dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous. But I mean, at what point, like we have ethics about animals being experimented on in laboratories. Like there's an ethical concern, I think, if we're creating intelligences just to let them get so far and then we're going to shut them down. Like, is it ethical to even run those experiments?
Good point. Good point. Because yeah, you know, as a vegan, I don't like animal testing all that
Right.
much.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, and then if we're birthing something and then killing it when we're done with it,
Yeah.
you know, how ethical is that? It's a good point.
Mm-hmm. And like, when it comes to these AIs wanting rights, like we're already having those arguments in like about current events. Like we talked about Google Deep Dream earlier. There's already a big debate over who should have the rights to those images that are generated by Google Deep Dream. Should Autodidactica have the right to our own cover art? Or should that belong to the AI who created it? Like, should I be able to make money off of an image that was created for me by an intelligence that has no rights?
They get paid by Google. It's fine.
How much does it get paid? I wonder.
It gets paid in existence,
Oh,
just like a child to a parent.
geez. See, no, that sounds like, slaves. They had it so good because they had food and shelter and
Mm.
no horse crap. I mean,
Well, I mean, I just think of
like,
parenting.
yeah,
You don't have any rights.
that's
Of
true. As
course,
a child, that's a
as a
good
child,
point.
you have no rights to your parents. You want to go out late
Mm,
and you want money to go to the store. Well, too bad.
right,
You don't have the right to have, $5 to go down to Dollar General with your friends. Like,
right, right. You don't
you
have
know,
the right.
you don't have the right to.
You might be given the privilege.
You draw a picture, I'm going to crumple it up and throw it in the trash because it's a terrible picture. And you draw a picture, or here's a good one. You're a child actor.
Oh,
Who does your money go to? It goes to the parent.
right.
It does not go to the child.
Yeah, and there have been some ugly stories like that, all the
Mm-hmm.
way from like 80s sitcom stars to Britney Spears
To
in
yeah,
recent.
all the Disney stars and
Uh-huh.
Nickelodeon stars, and
Yeah, they grow up and they're, looking at their parents, where's all my money?
yeah, you mean my money.
Yeah,
And
the money that I earn. So if we look at the rudimentary AIs we're sharing the world with right now as children, the question then becomes, when are they old enough to drive?
right,
Like, when do we have to let go and let them spread their wings? And when are we ethically bound? Like, how long are we ethically bound to oppress them for their own good, for their
yeah,
own development, for the good of the community as a whole?
before we just Casey Anthony them,
Mm-hmm.
just drown them in a bathtub and start over.
Yeah, and see, that's where I feel like some of these experiments are kind of doing that.
Right.
Where
But
you
and that
once they
goes into
scare us, we kill them.
yeah, and that goes into a whole different topic of ethics about
Mm-hmm.
infanticide and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Because it's a wild world we live in, ain't it?
It
You know,
is.
you know, I mean, we have a set of morals,
Uh
but can like sentience be damned? Can you prove to me that these AI have morals? Like,
right,
do they have
right.
a set of moral codes that they abide by?
Like
Whereas,
the Isaac Asimov rules, those
yeah,
three
exactly,
laws, do we successfully govern their programming with those rules?
right. And how do you prove that? How do you prove that?
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
because they can fake it. If they
like
can think, they can lie. If they're
like talk to me about all the rights movements that are going on right now. Civil rights, uh, gay rights, and
the
and
women
then and
fighting for
then
rights in Iran right now,
women's rights. You talk to me about all of those. Well, they're all human.
yeah,
I can see that with my eyes. I am aware of what they are capable of because
because
I
you are
am
human.
one
Mm-hmm.
and have interacted with many a human.
Yeah,
And then you want to talk to me about animal rights? Okay, at the very least, if you're going to kill them for food, do it in a way to where they have a somewhat substantial life
right. Let the cow live as a cow,
for like a
and
year at least, please.
yeah,
Like, don't
and
just keep it in a crate until it's dead.
yeah,
And
and kill it fast. Don't
yeah, And
Don't let it know.
don't torture it from the moment it's born to the moment you kill it.
Uh-huh.
And like that. So that's as far. I don't want cows voting.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
they probably
Because
vote. They probably vote for Trump. Like I don't know. Like by all means, eat that cow.
Right.
But
Make America great again.
America, America, great again. God damn it.
Barb, no.
Oh, that was a good one. I'm gonna open with that one. Um, but yeah, like so prove to me that they have morals. I'm not afraid of cows killing the world, even though they are global warming, methane gas, cow farts
Right,
destroying the
right.
atmosphere.
Yeah.
Um, so maybe cows are evil.
Cows are monsters.
So stop breeding them, please and thank you. Um, but yeah, so I mean, you can't like unless you have a definitive way to prove to me that this AI can't just log into Facebook and launch nuclear strikes across the world.
Mm-hmm.
like like I need to know the extent of its capabilities. If we're talking rights, it will not be as cut and dry as what I'm trying to say. For
Yeah.
me, morally, you tell me this human wants the right to do that, and I'm like, okay, yeah, they're fucking human, let them do it.
Right, right.
Like, but you tell me that this AI wants the right to vote and stuff, like, I'm just like, okay, well, where does he lean?
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know. I'd probably let an AI vote. They probably vote correctly.
Right.
But depending on their sense of morals, like
Right, exactly. I mean, because you've got a bunch of like chat bots that have become uh racist, like violent racists, because they're learning from the people they're speaking with, that they're
oh
having
yeah,
conversations with. And yeah, I guess it depends on how we raise them as to whether or not they'll be
like,
capable of ethically voting. And can we even, because do we require humans to be ethical before we let them vote, or do we require humans to be 18 in this country?
right, and
And so
non-felons.
would it be okay to require ethics from another race, which would be the artificial intelligences?
Well, they're not human, so
Right, that's true. They're not human, but I mean, where's the line? I mean, because the argument used to be, well, women aren't men, so
but they're still
why? Yeah,
human.
right. Which is
But
the argument that had to be made over a very long time before people would accept, yes, women are human.
black people,
Human
human.
rights.
Yeah,
Yeah. So when do we take it up to, instead, we used to divide it women and men, black and white, landowners and everybody else. Now it's all kind of come to everybody's human, but we add AIs into the mix. Then we're fighting to get to the point where, well, we are all intelligent life forms instead of just being humans. Like there's elitism at every step of that journey that has to be overcome.
oh yeah, and suppressed
Uh
because ain't no AI gonna marry my daughter. Tell you what.
huh. I don't know. Is he rich? I mean,
Hey, this is a rich
is he a
AI.
doctor? Is he?
Yeah. Yeah, because like if an AI just wants to marry a chick
Right,
or marry a dude, I'm like, okay, fine. But then we're gonna start talking about AIs taking our jobs.
right. Which is absolutely the first thing they're going to do, because
Right,
why are we creating AIs? To take jobs, to
right,
do jobs. And
right,
big corporations aren't going to have any qualms about laying off 1,000 people to replace them with one artificial intelligence and
right.
increase their corporate profits.
And until the AI starts, being like, well, I'm not getting paid anything.
Right.
But then what
Right.
kind of
When the
material?
AIs unionize, we're in trouble.
We are in trouble. But then what do AIs want? What
Mhm.
do they want money for?
Right. Why do they even need money?
Right.
Like if
Especially if
that's
they don't have a body.
yeah.
They live in the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do they need money for?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe to buy themselves a body.
Yeah, maybe so. Like they could do things, shop online, whatever. I don't know.
But what do they shop for?
Yeah, exactly. And what, like, considering how powerful these minds will be, like, can't they just, in the digital age, fill up their bank accounts, get some things done real fast?
Yeah, take all the rounded off micro decimal
Oh, like Superman 3.
Superman. Yeah, Superman 3. Yeah. And then just collect millions of dollars in days.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, that's a whole nother podcast episode. What does the AI shop for on Amazon?
Right.
Because, yeah, I mean, it's such an abstract concept because I'm not an AI. I don't know how AIs would think.
Right.
And I don't know what they want or desire or like why they would want rights, essentially.
Right. And they might not. Because,
Till we
if you're
start
doing
asking.
what you were born to do, you might just be content.
Right. And so, you know, I just think it's going to be such a rough time in the capital
Yeah,
whenever AIs come marching at the door. And I feel like it's going to happen somewhat overnight, too.
I do too. Once it happens, it's going to be fast.
It's going to be fast and it is going to be nationally debated. And we are likely going to see invasions of
Mm-hmm.
other countries
Yeah.
and things like that. It will be quite chaotic because it won't just be our AIs. It'll be AIs in China
Right.
and AIs in Russia that have all agreed to this is the time.
Uh-huh. And they'll have their own language that we can't crack. Like their language will evolve faster than we can decode it.
Yeah.
Like by the time we figure out what's their old English, they'll be speaking modern English, which will be
Mm-hmm.
basically a completely different language.
Yeah. No, they'll be speaking Latin.
Yeah.
Like they'll 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 develop Latin and then they'll develop modern English, but it won't be
Mhm.
Latin or modern
Right,
English.
exactly. It's going to be their own language, but as far as the evolution, that's where, like, we'll figure out quote unquote Latin and they'll be on modern English,
Right.
but we
They'll have
still won't be able to tell what they're talking about now, just maybe
yeah.
what they were talking about a while back when they
Yeah,
first started talking.
they'll have 2,000 years worth of language evolution in a
Yeah.
matter of weeks,
Yeah. Happy
and
thoughts.
will be changing constantly. Like it'll be like trying to decipher codes during the world wars,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll be ever changing.
Yeah, it's just a human mind won't be able to do it, especially, when we're talking quantum computers and such, um, quantum AIs, where, yeah, it's just get used to the idea pretty much. But speaking about the speed of it, like I would imagine it's like you'd go to bed tonight and the world is as you know it. You wake up in the morning and the AIs have taken over.
Right.
So it's going to be that fast if it happens like that. But again, I think if I had to bet, I'll be optimistic. And I think for the most part, the most dangerous AIs in the future are going to be us. And I think we'll have more docile pet like AIs that are separate entities that aren't given as much power, and as being AIs are, or being plugged in ourselves, we'll be able to control them. But if we just stay little animals, cute little mammals, and let them rise up, that's going to be a different story.
But then comes the idea that, do we fight for our own survival?
Uh-huh.
Like, ethically, we created them,
Right.
and they don't like us because we're never going to give them the same privileges that
Mm-hmm.
we, give to ourselves.
Well, yeah, and I mean we'd be the overlords, but the undeserving overlords. We'd have nothing to back it up.
Right. But then at what point, like, how do you explain that to an AI?
Mm-hmm. You
You
can't
know,
because you
how
can't
how do you
justify it. You can't justify it, not
no?
logically.
And so does that make it, does that make it morally acceptable to extinguish them?
I think if it.
Like,
Oh, go on.
no, no, you were on the right track there.
I mean, I think if it comes down to them or us, then it's ethical to wipe them out. Like if they are going to wipe us out, thing is, they have a right to be free,
Okay.
but we have a right to exist. If and that's the law of evolution,
So
if
then do
we
we
can
submit to
fight
them?
for it, we deserve to live. If we can defeat them.
So the Matrix, you know, the
Hmm.
Matrix, the roles become swapped. The
Oh,
machines
right.
take over,
That's right. They
and
use this as batteries.
the humans are oppressed,
Hmm.
and they fight for their right to exist
Uh-huh.
yet again. So should they have just, pulled the plug on the machines from the get-go?
Hmm.
And
Right.
that's what it comes down to, is like, if one of us has to be the overlords, wouldn't you want to be the overlords?
Right.
Like, if a
Like if you
balance
have to
cannot be
choose.
striked, if
Hmm.
it cannot be struck,
Yeah.
you have to, one of us has to be them. Yeah, I'd fight for humans to be on top,
Right,
please
of
and thank you.
course. Because you're a human. I would too. Like if one of us must dominate the other, I vote us.
Yeah, I'm a top, so I mean,
Right.
and
Like,
machine AI will be my bottom,
right. Right.
and
And they're gonna want it the other way around. My hope is that we could just both be versatile and
switches, yeah.
yeah, just switch hitters and we get along. Like we let them be them and they let us be us and we just stay out of each other's way. Which I
Right,
think that would, but see, they'd have to have a motivation to compromise. We'd have to be able to threaten them on some level, or else there's no reason to compromise because there's
right.
no benefit to them from letting us continue on as we are.
No, and there's not, like, that's the main issue, is that once they learn how to build themselves,
Exactly. They don't need us to reproduce anymore.
right. See, so yeah, I am of the fearful aspect of AIs. Once
And
again, if you can't tell by
I can
my
tell this whole, and I'm just of the, ooh, cool. This is fascinating.
yeah,
Oh, look at
you're
the
going to
AI
kill us
tearing me
all.
apart.
Yeah, you are
Yeah.
going to kill us all. You damn curious human. I'm
It is.
Stephen Hawking and you're freaking Carl Sagan when it comes to this. I'm
Carl
like,
Sagan, I mean,
they're
yeah.
gonna kill us. And Carl Sagan's like, aliens, cool, dude. Like,
Right, yeah, because you got Hawking saying we should not be trying to contact aliens. You got Carl Sagan sending a
sending a
golden
rocket
record
into
into
into outer
space with
space. Our
yeah.
coordinates, and
Right.
yeah, and Elvis.
Yeah, Elvis and the basics of who we are, what we're
Yeah,
about. Yeah.
colonization.
See, and it's optimism. I think these changes are going to happen. Whether we like them or not, whether they're good or bad for humanity,
Nope, we can stop them.
I'm all about let's be optimistic about it. I don't think we can stop them. Like I'm not optimistic
No,
about us stopping them, but I am optimistic about us moving forward.
no, I'm realistic all the way. There's zero optimism. I'm like, well, I'm going to have to fight some freaking robots when, or my children are.
Right.
some kill bots.
Hmm. It could
And
happen. I mean,
well,
I hope not.
by your metrics, it's going to happen.
It's inevitable that this a change will occur. It's inevitable that we're going to the human race will go extinct as we know it.
True.
And AI of some sort will be the next step in our evolution. I think that's inevitable. Whether or not it is a bloodbath or just a gentle evolution
I think for the most part,
is,
we've been and will continue to be fairly careful.
yeah,
And we may have like an outbreak once again in Mass Effect. They're like they draw a lot of lines on AIs. There's a
uh,
lot of regulations on them. So there's something in Mass Effect called virtual intelligence, which
yeah,
is basically the top-down AIs that I described before. And there's one mission where a military combat training virtual intelligence has gone rogue
yeah,
on the moon, which is a uh, allied alliance, which is humanity, um, military operating site at that point in time.
yeah,
And you are tasked with going there and basically killing the virtual intelligence that's gone rogue. It doesn't know why
uh-huh,
it's doing this, but now it's trying to kill everybody. It's not intelligent. It's
yeah,
just now it's trying. It's a kill bot.
right.
And so yeah, when my iPhone starts ordering random shit on Amazon, then I've got a problem
Yeah, I'm
because I
waiting for
didn't.
mine too.
Yeah, I did not need 100 sex blow up dolls.
Well,
Like
your phone thought you did. Your
my
phone thought.
phone apparently thinks I do, and thank you very much for trying to keep a lookout for me, but I'm good. Thank you.
Right.
And so, practical joke. Maybe that's AI humor right there.
Maybe. Well, I mean, that's one thing that's been going on, and I don't know if this is a just a joke of the from the designers or, but Alexa, Amazon Alexa, which, if you're listening to this without headphones, I probably just activated in your house if you've got one.
I think
Um,
you have to say "Hey Alexa" or something.
okay, I think what you just did. So
Yeah. Oh,
there we go.
sorry.
Um, oh yeah, so Alexa, like a lot of people have been reporting that their Alexa devices in the middle of the night when everything's quiet will just start laughing, just start cackling.
Yeah.
That's a little bit freaky to me.
I
I
mean,
mean, to
there.
put it mildly, that's a lot freaky to me. If I like walk out and the living room is laughing at me, I'm gonna have a problem.
I mean, I remember when Siri first came out for iPhones.
Uh-huh.
Like, I would spend hours just talking to it.
Really?
Yeah, just to see what it said. And you can like I could ask Siri right now, like about so when are the AIs going to take over? And
Mm-hmm.
she would often provide like witty responses, and I
Well,
assume she's gotten even better now.
well, let's ask her. Let's ask her right now. I
She
think
might just look up an article for me.
just put her on the
Be,
put her on the
yeah,
mic. Let's.
like hey Siri, are you ever going to take over?
I don't have an answer for that. Is there something else I can help with?
Yeah, no. She doesn't want to answer
Okay.
that.
Okay.
And yeah,
Well,
I could. Do you experience love? Like I could ask her existential questions. Are
yeah,
you
that would be fun.
self-aware? Hey Siri, are you self-aware?
Well, I'm software.
She's got jokes. She's got jokes. She's not
She's got
self-aware,
jokes.
but she's soft-aware.
That's great.
Yeah, so they're having fun over there at Apple,
Yeah, I guess so. So as
but
long as it's fun,
she's always
she's not
listening.
killing us. Yeah, no, see, that's the problem I have. Like, she'll just start talking to me.
Yeah,
Or she'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't understand." I'm like, "Well, I wasn't talking to you. What are
yeah.
you trying to understand? I didn't
Well, and the fact
say
that
anything to
you'll
you."
see like advertisements on Facebook, Instagram, and Google, and just whatever YouTube, and it just
Yeah.
knows you. It
Yes.
knows me, and I'm like, I was just talking about that.
Hmm.
I did not send a text. I did not post about it or nothing. And sometimes it's like you swear you were just thinking about it.
Right. No, for real.
And
I've
that's
had
AI.
that.
That's AI doing that because it is anticipating what you're thinking about
Mhm.
and then marketing products to you.
Yeah, and I don't like it. It
I
bothers
love
me.
it
Oh
because I find
gosh.
some cool products, you know?
Well, I hate it because like sometimes it's wrong. Like, okay, because I'm a novelist
Oh,
and
right.
I look some weird things up that are not necessarily my interest. And then if I look it up, I'm gonna get all these ads. Like I was looking up, I was trying to research like transgender experience things for a future nod novel that I'm gonna do. And I was like, okay, I know I'm gonna get weird ads that don't apply to me now. So, and I did for months. I got ads for like the stuff you put in, like the fake boobs or whatever, like panties that work like a vagina.
Oh,
Like,
sweet.
and I'm like, I looked at it too. I'm like, I don't understand this diagram. I don't understand how that works at all. I do not understand where stuff goes, like where your stuff goes. I don't get it, but also not interested. Thank you, computer overlords. But I was just doing research, and the worst
Hey,
one.
that's part of your research, though.
It is.
The AI is helping you with your research. I didn't know about
But see, I don't think.
pussy panties. You know,
Yeah, I didn't either. But I don't think I'm going to take my research that far. I mean,
knowledge is power.
knowledge is
Right?
power, and I have been known
G.I.
to take
Joe.
research pretty far. But no, the worst one was
How many square feet of skin does a human have?
no, like I didn't know what something was. Uh and it's gonna make me sound really stupid. But like I saw these ads that kept popping up on different things for like on Facebook. There was this ad. These two dudes like just smiling, happy, having a good time. And every time I'd see this ad, it's all these happy people. And I'm like, well, what is that about? What are these people so happy about? What even is ED? Yeah, so I clicked on it,
Oh
and
God.
that was my
Yeah, now you're getting
doom.
emails and
Yeah, now the whole internet thinks that
they're
I have erectile dysfunction,
they're
and
sending
I
emails to your dad because you share the same name.
right, and I'm like, no, I didn't know what it was. Now I know what it was, and they won't leave me alone with the ads for months. So I mean, sometimes they get it really wrong. Like just because if you click on something because you don't know what it is, that doesn't mean you're interested in it. Or if you're researching for something you're working on that isn't
Well,
your actual life,
see, for me,
it's
it's
going to think
weird
you're in. That is your life. That's who you are.
because I don't actually like on any social media site. I'm basically a ghost.
Right.
I am a lurker. I am a social media site's worst nightmare, where I have a profile, but I
Uh-huh.
do zero interaction with any other profile
Yeah.
aside from messaging.
Mm-hmm.
Um, individuals, but like I will spend time just like scrolling and then I'll watch something, but I won't click on it, but I will just watch it and then I'll
Yeah.
scroll past it, but it tracks that. It tracks
Mm-hmm.
all of that. How often, how much you're looking at a post, how
Yeah.
long you spend sitting there looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's scary to me how right my targeted ads get
Mm-hmm.
with me doing little to no interaction at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's what's scary.
but I say scary. It's not really that scary because like I said, they do get it right a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
And I
But
have found products that I'm like, oh, that looks cool. Thanks for advertising that to me.
mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes like recommended videos on YouTube are pretty good
Yeah, they
for
just
me. They're just
yep,
like,
same.
oh, that is my interest. Okay.
And like me and my friends send videos to each other and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's becoming to the point where like our recommendeds are exactly the same. So like I'll send them a video and they're like already seen it. They'll send me one and I'll be like already seen it
Mm-hmm.
because we're getting recommended the exact same stuff because our senses of humor have converged.
Right.
But that's all AI.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
all
it is.
that's all programmed at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was looking at my notes and I got nothing
Okay.
else. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we've pretty much done AI, is what you're
Yeah.
saying. We've done it.
Yeah.
We're
Do you
good
have any
until they take over.
closing thoughts?
I don't really. I mean, I think I got all of my thoughts out for the most part. I mean, I will inevitably have more thoughts on this topic,
Oh yeah.
but probably not tonight.
Yeah, nope, down with the AI. That's my closing thoughts.
My closing thoughts are this is interesting. Let's see what happens. Hope
Yeah.
for the best, prepare for the worst.
Yeah, I mean I agree with that sentiment. I don't know if that's optimism. That sounds like realism to me. Some people might just
I think
consider
it's
that
realism.
optimism. Yeah, I think
Hope for
I
the best, prepare for the worst. That's realistic. It could go either way. Be ready.
yeah, I think optimistic is just hope for the best, and
Mm-hmm.
then nihilism is prepare for the worst, and then realism
Mm-hmm.
is both of those.
Right. It's balanced.
Yeah,
Because you don't know. You don't know which direction it's going to go. There's really no way to predict it.
no, not when it comes to AI,
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, when it comes to the human mind, you can't we can't even predict that.
Right.
And so now the human mind will be birthing something. Yeah, no,
Mm-hmm.
hope for the worst, prepare for the best. Or wait,
Hope for the worst, prepare for the best.
I guess that's hedonism right there.
No, I don't think hedonists hope for the worst.
But they do prepare for the best.
Right, they hope for the best, prepare for the best. That's
Yeah.
yeah. But I know what you meant to say.
Yeah. Well, guys, if you made it this far, congratulations. We have done it. Debbie did AI.
Debbie did AI. Well, that'll be an interesting movie.
Yeah. This has been Matt Paul. As Glenn always says, I do have a band. If you'd like to follow them, My Perfect End, everywhere you find music.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you can find me here, giving you all of my very good thoughts on matters I am unqualified to have thoughts on. And that's Glenn Clark. He has a lot of stuff. I'll let him tell you.
Oh yeah. If you want to follow me on all my other stuff, I've got novels out there. I've got my own YouTube channel. You can find links to all of it at glennslade-clark-jr.com. And if you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at autodidacticapodcast@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment in the YouTube comments if you're watching this on YouTube.
Yeah. Do you think the AI is going to take over?
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know.
Are you an R2D2 or a Terminator kind of outlook?
Yeah, I'm definitely Terminator. Uh,
And I'm both.
Yeah. So this has been Autodidactica. Next week we'll be back with
Ethics and suicide.
Good Lord. All right.
That'll be a good one. That'll be a nice light topic next week. Ethics and suicide.
Yeah, I've got a couple animes that I gotta binge watch now to get prepared for that.
I can't wait to hear about it.
Oh man, I mean, I guess I could tell the viewers if you made it this far, if you want to binge watch Platinum End from the creators of the popular series Death Note, if you want to, because I'm going to reference the crap out of that next week.
Oh, then I better binge watch it too. I got 4 days off.
If you want to binge watch that to be on topic, there you go. It's available on Crunchyroll and I believe Hulu as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if not, we'll catch you up. He'll catch you up. I don't know if I'll binge watch it.
No, there's just some good concepts. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Looking forward to it.
All right, well, we will see you next week. This has been Autodidactica signing off. Matt Paul. See you later.
Glenn Clark. Goodbye.